Conversations with a Citizen. I am your host, Tia Carol Jones. I'm here today with Ida Nelson. Ida is the mother of Jett Hawkins, the child who inspired legislation in Springfield, Senate Bill 817, that would ban schools from making rules about hairstyles, including those associated with race, ethnicity, or hair texture. Ida, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you for being here. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, actually, I've been here before.
Yes.
Earlier in the year, because I am the owner of Ida's Artisan Ice Cream and Treats and Ida Be Well Wellness Products. And I am, of course, the mother of 6 beautiful children, 4 biological and then 2 bonus babies. I am a friend. I am a mentor. Apparently now I'm a motivational speaker.
Oh,
And
A legislator maker.
right. Yeah.
child mental health advocate.
Yes.
So I think that's pretty much sums it up.
Okay. Well, that's a lot. How did all this start?
Well, this specific situation started on March 2nd, actually, when my baby Jett, whose name is actually Gus, but we call him Jett. I was actually going to take him to the barbershop to cut his hair, and he said, "I don't want my hair cut." I said, "Well, what do you want me to do with your hair?" And he said, "I want you to braid it." And then he showed me how he wanted it braided, because these kids, they come here like way ahead of their time.
Mm-hmm.
They know exactly what they like, what they want, and so as a mom, I like to kind of foster my children's creativity and allow them to make some decisions in their life that are safe decisions, that kind of just help to have a connection with themselves, and also help them to reinforce that they are capable of making decisions in their life. And so I said, okay, I can go ahead and braid his hair. He loved it. He was so excited. He wanted to go and see show his friends and his teacher the next day. Jumped out of the bed, and felt his hair. Is my hair braided? Yes. And then I got a call, took him to school and got a call from an administrator saying that his hair was a violation of the school code of conduct and the uniform dress code. And I was instantly taken aback by this, because I will mention that I attended this school as well, over 20 years ago, and that policy was in place 20 years ago. But fast forward, I didn't know that we were still participating in rules that we already have established via other legislation are harmful to the outcomes of our people. And I was especially surprised because this is a predominantly Black school, and I put my children in that space because I wanted to avoid incidents of discrimination, but I absolutely want them to have access to the best education, and so I immediately said, "Oh no, we need to talk about this, because we have so much information that rules and policies like this are harmful to the outcomes of our children and even to us, because we grow up not having a sense of understanding about why we have self-hatred in a way, why we have so many mental issues, and some of these things like policies like this are definitely interconnected to a lot of the self-image issues that we as Black people face. And I was even more so appalled at the fact that he is 4 years old and in preschool, and they were calling me about this.
And so you said you were taken aback. Like, he's 4 and he's in preschool, and his hair is a violation of the school's
dress code, a policy, and again, the school is known for being strict, but they had, when I was there, you could not wear sneakers at all.
Okay.
But now, he can wear Jordans to school.
Okay.
And that was, so I thought, oh, okay, well, they seem to be a lot more liberal than they used to be. you used to have to take a test, or you're supposed to take a test in order to enter the school. But I was able to enroll my two daughters in the school without them actually having to take the entrance exam. And so, like, okay. And then for those that would say, well, you knew the rules, that they are strict with these types of policies. I'll say they did not give us a handbook this year, I guess because of COVID. Okay. And honestly, it's not something that at that time I would have been even looking at or examining, because I had no intentions of braiding his hair. His hair was not braided before. But after this incident happened, when I examined the policies and procedures from the handbook, which it was very difficult for me to even get my hands on it, it also said that the style that he had previously was against the rules as well, because they excluded box haircuts with the sponge, the little sponge at the top that a lot of black boys are wearing right now. A style that became popular about 5 years ago or so. So that means that you updated the handbook within the last few years, and included even more styles that were, associated with ethnicity as styles that were not acceptable. And so that was really, even more of a problem and a red flag for me, that that they had something against black hairstyles, So.
And the school is predominantly black.
100%. It's 100% black. So the student body, the student population, I should say, is 100% black. The staff is only, it looks like about 20% black.
So, how did you get connected with Illinois State Senator Mike Simmons?
Well, I initially attempted to resolve this issue internally by having conversations with the president, the principal, each of these people, and wanting to resolve it amicably. But they were very resistant to the idea of change, to be honest, and they kind of kept giving me the runaround. And so I went and took this to social media and started a social media campaign and conversations about black hair, and really connecting with people about the understanding that for us this is bigger than just hair. This is bigger than just a mom upset because there's a policy in place or anything like that. And a lot of people chimed in. There were over like 276 comments and 97 shares about this situation as we were talking about it on Facebook. And again, I went back to the school, still no progress made. So then I started going to the media about it, and sharing the story with the media, and really just became an advocate for my son, an advocate for the mental health of children that's associated with issues like this, and just sharing the story. And Senator Mike Simmons saw the story in, I believe, the Block Club Chicago newspaper, and this is why representation is important. He was immediately able to connect with the underlying issue associated with this, because he had experienced it in his life. And Senator Mike Simmons, if you see him, he wears his freeform locks. He's in there trailblazing for us, and on a mission to show that he can do all of these things no matter how his hair is. And so he reached out to my family via email initially and asked if it was okay if we talked. And then I spoke with him, and he informed me that he was going to write an amendment to Senate Bill 817 to incorporate the language and make it illegal, or attempt to make it illegal for schools to have discriminatory policies like this on their books. And he did that, and he was the one who decided to name the bill after Jett and call it the Jett Hawkins Act. So I thought that was pretty cool of him to do that.
Why do you think this legislation is important?
Well, I'm sad that it is something that we even have to come out and say in 2021 and create laws that protect our ability to connect with ourselves, connect with our ancestors, and I'm sad that we have these types of things, but it's important because what I'm coming to understand through all of my research from this is that our babies are kind of under attack with rules and policies like this. They are disproportionately targeting Black and brown children. There's not one policy in any school handbook that bans straight hair, okay? But there are policies that ban someone from wearing their hair like this, and there are, countless stories that I've had from young girls who came to thank me because they got in trouble for one child for wearing an Afro puff, another child for wearing her hair like this, but it was bigger, and administration actually combed her hair, 17-year-old child's hair, into like Miss Seeley plaits in order for her to be able to participate in a school activity. Just all types of stories that if you just sit and listen to them, it would make you depressed, and I really understand that our children's mental health outcomes are connected to their ability to connect with and participate and take pride in their phenotype. It's just super important that we protect their mental outcomes. I was reading something that showed that if you think about it, you used to never hear about Black children killing themselves, right? Or Black people in general, but Black children, never heard about that. Well, now, since 1991, that number, Black suicide amongst children, is up like 73%, okay? 73%. And a huge number of children between the ages of 5 and 11, according to these studies, have contemplated suicide, Black children. Now, why would someone contemplate suicide and they haven't even really began their life? Well, it's because the idea that something about them is bad, not acceptable. These subliminal, and I don't even know if we can call them subliminal messages because it's in writing. It's overt messaging that says that something about you is not good enough and you need to change it in order to be able to exist, in order to be able to grow, in order to be able to change the outcomes of your life. You need to change something about you. And that's bad messaging. And so we need to eliminate that. And also, like, the people who are creating these types of policies, because my thing is, it's not enough to just change these types of policies. It's changing the reason why they exist in the first place. Changing the understanding of this is not just hair first, because people will say, well, why don't you just? Well, just like I just can't wash away the blackness of my skin, I cannot just press away, the health of my hair, or perm away the health of my hair in order to fit in with your standard of beauty. So, it's really important to change the understanding, the dialogue for our children, even with us. I don't even know, I might be off topic here with the question because now I've already forgot what the question was, but I was thinking about like how we are conditioning kids and putting things in their spirit from the time they're born, because the first thing that we do is say, oh, that baby has good hair, ooh, that baby has bad hair, that baby has some rough hair, and then by the time they're maybe 4, because it's getting younger and younger, we're pressing out the hair, we're perming out the hair, we're extending out the hair. That messaging, something about you is not enough. So this legislation brings awareness to them that it sends a message that you cannot continue to victimize our babies here in Illinois. We're not tolerating that. And then it sends a message, hopefully, to us that we need to kind of have a reckoning with our behavior and our understandings and change that and become more work more towards empowering our children, be it empowering ourselves and dealing with our own issues of like why we think that that's problematic, or why do we think that we have to do this, that, or the third, in order to be beautiful or to be acceptable, or and also my words, like my mom, when I first started doing this, I cut all of my heat damaged hair. I didn't want to let it go. I didn't want to let go of the length, but I couldn't achieve like a style like this, having that, that straight hair, this much straight hair and this much kinky hair. So I had to cut it off. And my mom, God bless her soul, said, the first thing she said when she saw my hair like this initially was like, "Girl, what is wrong with your head?" Like, she's 75, so okay. She gets a pass. But but if it was straight or wrapped or whatever, which is how I normally used to wear my hair, I was very connected to straightening my hair. Like to the point where my hair was like, it would only take like 10 minutes to blow dry, and one smooth over in order to get it straight, because my hair was that trained. Okay. Consequently, I've had to cut off probably about 12 inches of hair, in order to get to the health of my hair, and so we're trained to think that we're not pretty, unless our hair is straight and long, a lot of us. Or, a child's hair is not pretty if it's not wavy and long. And then we send that messaging to them. And then it starts to get in their spirit. And they don't even necessarily know why they're having these different feelings, or why you're participating in this behavior or that behavior. It's because there's something inside of you that thinks that you're not enough. And so we have to really kind of interconnect these issues. And that's what I'm hoping to do, is kind of paint the picture that all of these issues that we're having are impeding on our ability, some of us, to empower ourselves, because you can't empower yourself if you're not mentally strong, right? And you can't be mentally strong if you don't even have a connection with who you are, or understanding of who you are, and like really love yourself, and so wanting to kind of do what my part to strengthen the community, which is mentally, strengthen ourselves mentally. And also, it was very important for me to do this, to also show our community that, look, we're not oppressed, we can change the outcomes for ourselves. We understand, everybody understands that life is a game to an extent, okay? It's either play or be played. It's either know the rules of the game and then get in the game, figure out what the rules are. Okay, so I'm upset about this. I'm sick and tired of seeing these stories in the news. I'm sick and tired of reliving this trauma every time I see a baby being victimized. Okay, because when someone takes scissors to a child's head and cuts their beads out or cuts their locks out, they're victimizing and inflicting trauma on that child. Okay, and as the mothers, because I'm feeling that as the mothers, as the aunties, as the uncles of these children, we feel that trauma when we see the stories, but we feel we make ourselves powerless. We render ourselves powerless over the situations, because all we do is say, "Oh man, that's terrible," and then till the next story. "Oh, that's terrible," and to the next story, and then we have a situation like what happened last summer, where we kind of implode, then explode. I don't know. Okay, so my thing is, we don't have to wait until the next really big crazy thing happens anymore. We don't have to necessarily get out in the streets and shout. What we can do is learn how the law works. How do we change? You're upset about something that it doesn't. Okay, so how can we unify? How can we utilize resources? How can we learn about how legislature works, connecting with your council folks, how this works, so that we can actually create a meaningful change, meaning that it's going to actually mean something for all of us, so we can be one step closer to that healing that we all need. Because my thing was, I could not, after her last summer happened, I felt like I could not fathom Jett having to march in 14 years down a Michigan Avenue to say Black Lives Matter. And I certainly couldn't sit around and I can't sit around and wait for his neck to be under the knee of an officer before I start to work towards changing things, you know. And so I just want to create a safe, I want the schools to be a safe space for our kids, you know. And so we're just one step closer, but it's just one step. It's time for us all as parents, even if you have children or not, the way that our ancestors maneuvered the village, it was a village effort, okay? So it's time for us to come together as a village and examine the issues and stop necessarily complaining about them, more so putting things in place to make those changes. Empower ourselves, empower our children, okay? And then create the changes that we want to see for our children, so that we don't have this thing just continuing to, you know, fester over the next 10, 20 years. You know, it's ridiculous.
So after the legislation was introduced, so what's been the response from the school?
Well, the school actually did not reach out to me personally at all to tell me their response. I read it in the Tribune that they had listened and learned and decided to eliminate those types of policies from their handbook going forward. Okay, and that was definitely due to the pressure, because when I was trying to talk to them one-on-one, I had several conversations back and forth with them one-on-one, and I was really getting the runaround on that. And one of the president of the school mentioned to me, she said, "Wow, we've never had this type of press before. We have never experienced this before." And I was thinking to myself, I know you didn't, you know. But again, it was the pressure, and again, this is what people see, what, you know, that I was able to change the law, but what they don't understand is that I've been working on this like almost nonstop since that happened, since the date that it happened. And it's like rallying people is a lot of work. And people said, when they would say things like, "Oh, I'm so sorry," okay, I'm sorry, thank you for being sad that happened, but here's what I need you to do. Right. Each person individually, like, I need you to write a letter to the school. I need you to call to the school. I need you to, you know, share this story and have conversations about this with people. I need you to spread the awareness, you know, because again, it's not enough to just be so sorry. So even with the school, they say that they've listened and learned. I had sent them a list of kind of atonements, because it's one thing to change the policy. That's one thing, that's a nod. But again, you need to change the culture in which, you know, policies like this were able to thrive for so long. You know, you need to change the relationship with the students and the teachers, because what schools have basically done is turn teachers into wardens in a way. You know, they feel like they need to police children and discipline children rather than actually teach and nurture children. You know, and so change the culture and also provide education. You have, again, there's 100% Black students in, you know, from North Lawndale, East Garfield Park, you know, from the inner city of Chicago that attend this school. And your staff is 80% Caucasian. Do they understand do they know what a twist out is? Do they understand the history of locks? Do they understand the culture, you know, the hair culture? Are they even familiar with the Crown Act? Mm-hmm. You know, if teachers are supposed to be lifelong learners, well, shouldn't they be also learning about, you know, culturally responsive teaching?
How has Jett been doing with all of this?
Jett is something else. People always ask me what his understanding is. Mm-hmm. I know that when you say hair, Jett will say, I'm so excited about this hair bill. And we're planning a celebration for him, for the law, for us, for our hair, you know, to thank Mike for doing this. And he's like, I am so excited about the celebration. It's going to be my birthday, you know, because he's 4, you know. And also, Jett, every day is his birthday. He wakes up every day and says it's his birthday. And I don't correct him too tough. Because, I mean, every day that you wake up is your birthday, right? It's a gift. So, yeah, and he is really excited about his hairstyle. So now they're getting even more intricate.
Oh, okay.
And he is, you know, I think that, do you guys believe that people are born with their personalities for the most part?
Absolutely.
Okay, so Jett is, he was born like, we call him swaggy baby. He was born kind of just with that African American swag. You know, he likes to look nice. Yesterday he had a photo shoot and he had on a suit. He didn't want to take it off.
I saw the photos.
Oh,
I don't know where you got a royal blue suit that small, but it was the cutest thing.
Well, the way the manifestation works for me is things are just like placed there for me. And so I went into Nordstrom and it was like placed there. It was the only one. It's the only one. It was his size. So, yeah. And I'm very attracted to the color blue. And so it's like, God, put that there just for me. But he when he was in the store trying it on, a lady said, "You look so handsome," and he winked at the lady. That's, you know. So again, Jett loves getting his hair cut. He thinks he looks so looks so good. You know, when he has his hair cut, you see the pictures of him with the sunglasses. Jett has a sunglass collection. Jett has a hat collection, and you know, so Jett likes to be well put together, even at 4. So,
talk to me about Kids Like Jett, and then what is next for them.
So Kids Like Jett is an organization that I am in the process of creating. You know, I'm working with a lot of my friends and educators, psychologists, to really put together the scope of work that I want to do and make it concise, because there's so much that I want to do, you know, but we want to make it concise. But the name came from, that's kind of the hashtag that I started in order to bring even more awareness to it. But the inspiration was for people to get to understanding that even a 4-year-old, even a child, a baby, 'cause that's what he is, that it has brown skin and kinky hair, is not excluded from, you know, the rules that they put out here related to discrimination. You know, even a 4-year-old is not exempt, and his story is not unique. So we need to put together kind of an action plan for how we can end these types of traumatic issues for not only Jett, but all kids that look like Jett, kids that, you know, children of color who are innocent. You know, he's 4 years old, and he's the face of this movement, and it resonated so much because people can see that he is a baby. But the thing is, they're all babies, okay? Even if it's a 16-year-old, even if it's an 18-year-old that's, you know, trying to graduate from school and can't walk across the stage because they have locks, or can't do their valedictorian speech unless they cut their locks. Their hair didn't have anything to do with their achievement. It might have actually empowered the achievement, but you know, the world doesn't see them, our children, as babies and as children. And so I kind of want to reshape that for them, to you know, change the narrative for them. So the first goal is to duplicate the law that I was able to get produced here in Chicago, in Illinois, I should say, reproduced all over the country. Because again, we, the moms, the dads, the aunties, the uncles of these babies, really need to be proactive about protecting them. Hair policies are often grouped in with zero tolerance policies. So there's, you know, uniform dress codes, hair policies, zero tolerance, same as gun and violent, you know, grouped in with guns and violence. Well, why is our hair considered violent, you know, in the same category with violence? And so bringing that awareness to. Hope the goal is to rally more of us to get behind this movement, to say no, we're going to protect our babies. You cannot victimize them on any level, starting with their hair. And so that's number one. And then phase two would be to, again, change that culture. You know, go into the schools and we'll create, I would love to create a curriculum that we create and that we are able to, how do I say it, introduce or, you know, carry out the education piece behind it. You know, that more culturally responsive learning across America, because it's happening, you know, these issues are happening everywhere, and I'm not quite sure right now if it's like willful blindness or if people really don't know or don't understand. I think it might be, you know, a combination of the two, but it's high time that we educate, you know, the educators, the people who are entrusted with our babies every day, on why these issues are important to us and how to interact with our children, and also, you know, how to, you know, I don't know, just how to interact with our children. But then also phase two of that is working towards getting more mental health care incorporated into the curriculum for the schools, because our children need to learn a little bit more, I don't know how to say it, but they need to learn how to love themselves a little bit more, you know.
Before we wrap up, is there anything else that you'd like to add?
I think that I pretty much said a mouthful just now, you know. Well, we intend on having this celebration, which will be kind of like the kickoff to Crown Act celebration. The Crown Act was initially passed in on June 27th of 2019, and then signed into law for the first time on July 3rd, 2019. And so I would love to have a celebration. We're looking at the 27th, but we may have to push it to July 3rd. But I'll share that information with you, and perhaps you can post it on your Facebook page or something, so that everyone can who's willing and wanting to can join us in this celebration of, you know, blackness, black hair, you know, the foundation, the law changing, all of that.
Great. Well, thank you so much.
Awesome.
Remember to make plans to join us again next week for Conversations with the Citizen, the place where real news